Hey guys, welcome back to Mike Reacts. You know what I've realised lately? I have not done, I haven't watched. I've been so busy and I haven't really managed to watch. I subscribe to Lost in the Pond, Laurence from Lost in the Pond, and I've been so busy that I haven't really watched any of his videos. He's actually been really great and educating me a lot about the United States and what to expect when I move there. So let me move this camera around a little bit so you guys can see me a bit better. Yeah, and he's been absolutely great with that. And not only do I find his videos informative and funny, but I just think he's got a great character. So today I thought we might as well react to one of his new ones. This is about 10 days ago. And it's something that I've heard a lot of Southerners talk about, but not so much Northerners, but I don't know if there's a difference. They're called lightning bugs. And I do hear that when you're driving down the street, if you hit one, you get like a bright coloured sort of residue left on your windscreen. That is what I've heard, and I've heard that there's a lot of them. So I don't know what it is. We haven't got them here, so I don't know what they are. But he said, let's talk about American fireflies. So they're fireflies. So we must have fireflies, but they're not very common. Maybe not as common as they are in the United States. So let's have a look what Laurence has to say. Guys, if you are still watching, thank you so much. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every subscription, every like, every comment with a suggestion or feedback or absolutely anything down below helps the channel massively. This channel is growing because of you guys, and I really appreciate it. Also, don't forget that if you want to have a look at more of the stuff that I do, more exclusive videos, you can head over to Patreon. It's just $5 per month, guys. That is less than your morning cup of coffee, depending where you're living. If you're in New York, it's less than half the price of a cup of coffee. So head over to Patreon. It's $5 per month, and you can get lots of exclusive content that you're not going to find here on YouTube, extended videos, and the opportunity to talk to me personally one-to-one. So let's get to this. Let's talk about American Fireflies by Lost in the Pond.
I found one right there, just hanging out. I don't know if it's nervous.
Hello, this video is sponsored by BritBox, the premier streaming service for Britain's most beloved TV shows. I'm Laurence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America...
It's good that he's got a sponsor, he deserves it.
...lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to insects. Specifically, insects that glow in the dark. Here in the Midwest, there is a type of winged insect that during my first American...
Okay, so also in the Midwest, is there a difference? I don't know.
Summer caused my eyes to do this, and my mouth to do likewise. What the heck was that? I asked my American wife. Oh, just a lightning bug, she said nonchalantly, as if she'd witnessed this act of sheer sorcery so many times it had now become old hat. I see, said I. So do all of your insects just flash on and off for no reason? It was only later...
Is that what they look like? Because if that's the case, that is absolutely amazing. I would love to experience that.
Being treated to more of this unrelenting witchcraft that I realised there was in fact a very good reason for it. And before I get into all that, if you're new to my channel and haven't had a chance to subscribe, do that now.
Yes,
as long as I live, I'll forever associate Midwestern summer evenings with the sound of crickets and the bioluminescence of lightning bugs. But what if I told you that both phenomena exist not to grab the attention of humans, but that of a fellow mate? Of course, when I say mate, I don't mean that in the British sense of friend. I mean a partner with whom you can perform a bit of How's Your Father. Just as male crickets stridulate to win the affection of female crickets, male lightning bugs flash brightly to let the ladies know they be single. If she likes what she sees, the female will send a flash back, sort of like the insect equivalent of swiping right. When it comes to the Photinus piralis, America's common eastern lightning bug, the female will often hold conversations with several males in a single evening, leading the latter group to get jealous and beat each other up. But during courtship, the male and female continue to twinkle at each other until they meet, fall in love, and produce up to 500 eggs. Sorry for going high pitch.
Wow.
So now, whenever I see these dazzling creatures waltzing in the nighttime air, I feel both honoured and ever so slightly violated. But the US is a huge place. Not everywhere in this giant land experiences the same density of lightning bugs.
Okay.
Though there are plenty of them here in the
Yeah, look, you can. That's exactly. This is exactly what I was talking about when I was saying. I heard it was mostly a southern thing. You can see the concentration here. You can see on my screen here, right there where my mouse is. Like it's all in the south, and obviously that makes sense because I spent some time in northern Florida, and I have experienced them a few times, and I was surprised the first time that I ever experienced them.
Yes, there's an even higher concentration of them in the south, while the west coast barely has them at all. In fact, to the extent that they are found out west, Americans can't seem to decide what to call them. In the west and upper Midwest, lightning bug usually becomes firefly, which makes you wonder, do people in my neck of the woods refer to Firefly the TV show as lightning bug? And while we're on the subject of TV shows and things that were lost in the pond, what do this NASA space shuttle and Britain's Inspector Morse have in common? Easy. The space shuttle Endeavour and Endeavour Morse were both named after Captain Cook's famous ship. And that is how NASA even kept the OUR spelling. Perhaps that's a story for another time. But the universe...
Oh, I never noticed that. NASA did use the OUR. I was actually recently at Kennedy Space Center, and I'll post a few videos and pictures of that if you guys would like to do so. And I actually saw the Endeavour. It was very, very impressive. Magnificent, actually. But yeah, wow.
Inspector Morse represents stories from my time, as the late great John Thaw solves mysteries in a show the Radio Times called the greatest British crime drama of all time. Thanks to BritBox, you can see it for yourselves, not to mention its highly acclaimed spin-off Lewis, starring Kevin Whately reprising his role as Lewis. The show is a more than worthy sequel to Morse. In addition to this, you can stream your other favourite British shows via your smartphone, tablet, desktop,
I'll skip over.
TV. Fun, I think, is also the impression that we don't have fireflies in Britain. But it turns out, much to my own surprise, we do, sort of. There is a species in Britain and throughout much of Europe called the common glowworm that, for all
Okay, yeah, so I did know that, but I've never seen one ever in the UK.
and porpoises is the same thing. It's tiny, only comes out at night and flashes in the dark when it wants some hanky-panky, and yes, I'm still talking about glowworms. The thing is, they must be much harder to track down back home because, like most Brits, I never actually saw one with my own eyeballs.
Just like he said.
But that's okay, because Britain has hedgehogs and America doesn't, so we're even.
Sorry, is that the case? Does the US not have hedgehogs?
Anyway, at this point in the video, I'd like to address the elephant in the room, which is this. Whether we call them lightning bugs, fireflies, or glowworms, each and every one of us is completely and utterly a little bit incorrect. Because these creatures are not flies, or bugs, or worms. They are beetles. And I don't mean that they came from Liverpool and wrote songs about love and walruses. I mean that they belong to the same subgroup as ladybugs, or as we call...
So I wasn't expecting this as a reaction video. This is more of like a David Attenborough kind of thing. It's actually quite cool. I'm enjoying it.
In Britain, ladybirds. Likewise, these are neither bugs nor birds, but also beetles, and occasionally America's First Lady. And finally, I thought I'd take you outside into my backyard and show you my own congregation of fireflies, and I thought I'd whisper, it's so that we don't scare them. I suppose they're not really frightened by that, are they? I'm really doing it because David Attenborough does it.
Oh, it seems like we're on the same wavelength.
I've set up here because I had seen fireflies flying around that stake in the ground, which must mean that they have a stake in the ground. That joke made no sense. And so far, since I've set up my camera, I haven't seen a single firefly. And so at this point, I thought the best way to remedy that would be to grab my camera phone and go for a little wander. Sometimes see lightning bugs just flashing around these trees, which is sort of the lightning bug equivalent of doing it behind the bike sheds. But tonight, no such luck. Oh, there's one. Oh, did you see it? You see it?
Oh, there it is. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Even so, that fleeting grainy footage didn't seem like it would be enough to satisfy my wonderful subscribers and Uncle Toby. With all hope seemingly lost and my desire for a cheeseburger growing stronger by the second, I was about to give up when I saw a bright flash on the other side of the garden.
I found one right there. Just hanging out. I don't know if it's nervous, because it's not flashing at me.
Oh!
Did you see that?
Wow, that's really bright, and I wasn't expecting that at all, to be honest with you. I thought that it is only bright because you see it mostly at night, right? But that was, in the daylight, that's extremely bright.
Did you see that? Thank you, little friend, thank you for providing me with box office footage.
If it wasn't true before tonight, the events of this video have firmly cemented America's common eastern firefly as my absolute favourite of all beetles, and that includes George Harrison. If you ever have a bad day, if you ever find yourself stuck in a rut, if you just need something to remind you that occasionally this world is a majestic and surprising place, go outside on a warm summer's evening and find yourself one of these. Watch it up close for 10 minutes. And every time that it lights up, think to yourself again and again how profoundly insane it is that it does that. And then remember that deep down you have that power too.
There must be some kind of chemical, biological reaction, right? That's happening inside the body of this bug or beetle. That's incredible to think about it.
I've no idea where I'm going with this. I was just going to say something about finding the light within inside themselves, but I mean, they are subscribed to my channel, so there's honestly no hope for them. That said, if you happen to live in a part of the world that isn't a hotspot for firefly hookups, but would still like to get inspired, I recommend rewatching this video from now until the end of time. In the meantime, that's it for this video. I'm Laurence Brown. You can follow me on Threads and...
Okay. So, you know what? He seems to have gone in a very, very different direction. I mean, first of all, he's got he's sponsored by someone, which is absolutely great. Good for him. He seems to have gone in a totally different direction than what he normally goes. Normally, he does the differences between the US and the UK. This was very, very nature, a show very much about nature, and in fact, the cinematic aspect of it. So it seems to have involved far more editing than he normally does. Like, I can appreciate that because I do very little editing for these videos. It's some, but not a lot. For that, I can imagine that might have taken him a fair bit longer than normal, and I absolutely appreciate that. That's some really, really good work. And in fact, he's done it in such a way that the way he was speaking, he could be a great replacement for David Attenborough. I suppose he would have his own. I mean, he's already got so many, 600,000 subscribers. In theory, that is it's a huge base of viewership. So he could really go in a great direction with this if he so chose to do so. And I believe he most likely will, because he's very good at it. So good for him. That was really, really cool. I learned a lot about lightning bugs. What do you call them? Fireflies, lightning bugs? What do you call them? Because I know what a firefly is, but I've never really experienced one. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. If you're from the West Coast, I suppose this is as foreign to you as it is to me. But yeah, a really, really cool thing, guys. It's one of the reasons I love the United States. It's such a diverse, biologically and sort of geographically diverse, basically continent. Anywhere from forests to mountains to deserts, great lakes. Absolutely amazing, and especially the wildlife. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Have a great rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Yeah.